Right when you think nothing stranger can happen, here we are again, live, loud, and somehow still surprised by the chaos around us. Thanks for being here, thanks for watching, and buckle up because tonight has everything from Olympics to politics to frozen lizards falling out of trees. We are coming to you from beautiful Los Angeles, California, the future home of the 2028 Summer Olympic Games. Yes, the Olympics are coming here, and yes, that is a real thing. Everyone seems excited and somehow slightly confused at the same time. Before that happens, though, we still have one more Olympics to survive. The Winter Olympics in Milan, Italy, officially kicked off tonight. Who is ready for 2 full weeks of staring at the screen and pretending they understand the difference between bobsledding and luge? Honestly, they should just rename luge to something more honest, call it fast lying down sledding, and save everyone the trouble. The United States sent 232 athletes, each chasing the dream of winning gold. That medal might someday end up hanging around the president's neck during a very awkward photo opportunity. It is all very exciting. Sadly, we are not legally allowed to show you any real footage from the events because NBC owns it and guards it like a dragon guarding treasure. But do not worry, while we cannot show you sports, we can show you dogs. Last night in New York, the 150th Westminster Kennel Club Dog Show took place. This has been happening since 1876, which somehow makes it older than most of our political arguments. It is a weird but wholesome American tradition. And we have our own weird but wholesome tradition. Every year since around 2010, we use very fancy green screen technology to remove the dogs from the dog show. The results are strange, beautiful, and deeply unnecessary, which makes them perfect. This year's top dog was an underdog, a female Doberman named Penny. She beat more than 2,000 other dogs and a few very uncomfortable humans. She became the 42nd female to win Best in Show and the first Doberman to do it since 1989. Technically, if we are being accurate, should she be called a Doberman woman? Probably. A Doberman feels like an odd symbol right now, especially with the country drifting into darker territory. Penny is surely a sweet and lovely dog, but if someone yelled, "Release the hounds," that is exactly the dog you would picture sprinting down the hallway. Meanwhile, in Minneapolis, human Doberman Tom Homan announced that the government is pulling back slightly on ICE operations. Officials say that due to increased cooperation and a safer environment, there is less need for such a heavy law enforcement presence. As a result, 700 ICE agents are being withdrawn immediately. That is good news, though it still leaves plenty more behind. It's strange to live in a time when people are celebrating a troop withdrawal from Minnesota. As we speak, hundreds of agents are packing up their tactical pants, oversized shirts, and extremely aggressive sunglasses. Somewhere across America, basements are being prepared for their return. Even the president admitted today that his administration may need a softer approach on immigration. Of course, this softer approach likely exists so energy can be saved for something else, like election season. The midterm elections are only 9 months away, and it is very clear that every possible lever will be pulled. There are calls to nationalize voting in multiple states. There are new laws being pushed that would require passports or birth certificates just to register. And then there is Steve Bannon, who has decided subtlety is overrated and is openly calling for armed ICE agents outside polling locations on Election Day. This is being framed as protection, but it feels a lot more like intimidation. This is the same man who went to prison for scamming his own supporters out of money to build a wall that never happened. Somehow, he now claims to be the guardian of democracy. Remember when Trump said people would never have to vote again if he won? That promise seems to be taken very seriously. Speaking of outcomes that feel a little too perfect, let us talk about the Melania documentary. Allegedly, it exceeded box office expectations. It had the biggest opening for a non-musical documentary in a decade, which is a very polite way of saying it still lost a lot of money. Many people wondered how the film sold millions of dollars in tickets when theaters looked completely empty. Reports now suggest those numbers may have been boosted by bulk ticket purchases that were later handed out for free.
If that sounds familiar, it should. Back in 2019, party officials bought large quantities of a certain book to push it onto bestseller lists. The book became a hit despite the fact that no one has ever read it. Some believe it may contain only blank pages. We may never know. Sources say large blocks of Melania tickets were distributed to senior living facilities. Imagine waking up, taking your pills, and being handed movie tickets you never asked for. To be fair, a few people did willingly attend, including a group calling themselves the Church Ladies. Others had different names for them. Their outfits made them look like walking redacted documents. The whole situation feels suspicious, or as the kids might still say, sus. As of tonight, the film sits at 5% on Rotten Tomatoes from critics. That's impressively low. The audience score, however, is somehow 99% positive, which is higher than The Godfather. Nothing questionable there at all. Clearly, we need a full investigation. Seize the popcorn machines, the ticket scanners, everything. Jeff Bezos funded the project and then laid off hundreds of journalists shortly after. Budget priorities are fascinating. And then there's Nicki Minaj, who recently discussed how her political support might influence her music. This raises the terrifying possibility of future collaborations that absolutely no one asked for. All of this connects back to familiar names appearing again and again in the Epstein files. Some people say it's time to move on. Others are still asking the basic question: if everything is transparent, why are so many names blacked out?
The claim of full transparency keeps falling apart the moment you look closely. Emails are released, but the most important names are covered in black ink. Messages reference disturbing details, yet the identities are hidden. Maybe there is a good reason, or maybe the reason is exactly what people fear. Some officials insist nothing wrong happened, but the documents themselves suggest otherwise. When names are removed from emails discussing serious misconduct, it naturally raises questions. Transparency does not mean showing papers while hiding the truth. If everything is clean, there should be nothing to hide. As the political noise continues, the weather seems to be losing its mind, too. Today was unusually warm in Los Angeles, while New York was freezing. Florida, of course, took things in its own strange direction. Cold temperatures caused iguanas to freeze and fall straight out of trees. This is a real thing that happens there. When temperatures drop, these cold-blooded animals shut down and tumble like nature's warning signs. Locals calmly collect them and, in some cases, turn them into food. Florida has an unmatched ability to turn climate chaos into a snack opportunity. Speaking of snacks, the Super Bowl is this Sunday. Traditionally, it is one of the biggest junk food days of the year. That was before the administration decided America needed to be healthy again. Tonight, a special guest appeared to share smarter Super Bowl snack ideas. The Secretary of Health and Human Services arrived with confidence, strange energy, and deeply questionable advice. He proudly declared that measles is back, as if that were something to celebrate. When asked about game day food, he claimed potato chips are poisoned and blamed them for deaths that never happened. Instead of chips, he suggested baby carrots and then attempted to explain where baby carrots come from in a way no one asked for. The demonstration was disturbing, unnecessary, and confusing. Wings, of course, were next. Chicken wings were dismissed due to trans fats. The alternative suggestion was bat wings. According to him, fruit bats count as both protein and fruit. When challenged, he claimed extensive medical knowledge that does not exist. The conversation only got stranger from there. Hot sauce was discussed, followed by a so-called secret ingredient involving a balloon filled with white powder. What appeared to be cornstarch was revealed to be ketamine. This was presented as a casual seasoning choice. At this point, reality itself seemed unsure whether it wanted to continue. Halftime plans were also addressed. Instead of watching the show, he suggested eating puppies. This crossed several lines at once and resulted in immediate intervention. Security was called, and the guest was escorted away while yelling promotional slogans that no one should ever follow. The segment ended, but the feeling lingered.
Somehow, in one night, we moved from international sports to election interference to frozen lizards to drug-seasoned wings, and yet none of it feels surprising anymore. That is the strange part. This all feels normal now. Documents with missing names, elections surrounded by threats, movies with impossible ratings, weather behaving like it has had enough, public officials speaking nonsense with full confidence. We laugh because laughing is easier than screaming. But underneath the jokes, the questions remain. Who is being protected? Who is being silenced? And how long people are expected to accept obvious contradictions as truth? The show rolls on, guests are announced, commercial breaks happen, life continues. But the details matter, and the patterns are impossible to ignore. Whether it's politics, media, or culture, something is deeply off balance, and the more people are told to move on, the more they start paying attention. That might be the one thing no one planned for. We'll be right back.